Hey guys, so I've had my iPhone 12 Pro for 3 weeks now, and I already have an unboxing video where I set up my phone and then a separate video where I have my first impressions and I tested out the cameras and everything. But this video is going to be more what I noticed from using this phone and also just some of the most commonly asked questions commented in my past videos. So I was going to make this video a lot earlier, but my data plan was being weird, and it probably shouldn't be too hard to transfer over your plan from your old phone, but I was just on some really weird plan where the SIM was attached to the phone, so that took a while. Also, feel free to follow me on Instagram at ashley.fong with an extra G at the end for more content. And also, if you guys have any videos you want to see, be sure to comment it down below. Okay, so if you haven't watched any of my past videos, I mainly got this phone for the camera because I also use it for filming my YouTube videos, but right now I'm filming a video about it, so I'm using my dad's iPhone 11 Pro Max. And I paid for it completely from making money on YouTube, so thank you for watching my videos and supporting me. It means a lot to me and I'm super grateful. So in my last video, I didn't have a case and I was kind of holding my phone like this, and some people were saying that it was really scaring them. So Casely actually sent me a couple of cases, so I'm just going to show you guys. This is not sponsored or anything, they just sent them to me. And I also got two more, and this one is a black one with some moon phases on it, and then this is a white one with some blue stars on it. So I think my favorite one is the sunflower one because it's a clear case so you can still see the gold. So it says Casely there, and they have some grips on the corners of the phones, and that makes them super sturdy and it just feels a lot more protected. And also there's a lip coming out from the side, so if you put your phone face down, it won't get scratched as easily, and also where the camera is. So it does make the phone a little thicker, but I don't really mind it. So they have super cute cases, and I'll link them down below if you want to check them out. And one thing is, when this phone doesn't have a case, the stainless steel parts on the edge collect fingerprints really easily. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go over a couple of the little things I noticed. So when I talk about this phone, I'm mainly comparing it to the iPhone X because that's the last phone that I had. And when I originally got this phone, it didn't really feel that different from the X, except for while I was switching over my data, I was kind of in between the phones, and I would get used to the iPhone 12 Pro, and then when I would go back to the iPhone X, you could totally tell a quality difference, but I just didn't even notice it at first. Another little thing I noticed is that I'm wearing fake nails. When I kind of scratch the screen, I'm not actually scratching, I'm just kind of like rubbing it against it. It feels grippier than the last phone. Like the last phone just felt a lot smoother for some reason, but like when you touch it with your finger, it obviously feels the exact same. Another little thing I noticed is that the games are zoomed in. The best way I can explain this is when you're playing a YouTube video, there's a button where you can have the video zoom in to fit your entire screen. So basically, since the phone has a notch right here, if you were to watch the video zoomed in, it would take up the entire screen and this notch would block part of it. But then if you were zoomed out, it would basically size it so that it would end right here before the notch starts. And for me, when I play games on this phone, it's kind of zoomed in so that the notch blocks the tiny top part right here. But on the iPhone 10, it didn't do that. Just comment down below if there's some setting where you can change if the games are zoomed in or not. So another thing about the iPhone 12 Pro compared to the iPhone 10 is that the screen is a tiny bit bigger because it's kind of flat, so the edges don't have to have space to just curve back, but the actual size of the phone itself is basically the same. Okay, so now I'm going to be answering some of the most commented questions from my previous videos, and all my videos will be linked in the information box and also in the description box below. And if you have any new questions, just leave them down below and I'll just reply to your comment. So I got some questions about how I set my phone up. Basically, it comes charged, so you don't need a charger or anything, and then you just put your phones next to each other and it essentially airdrops from your old phone. Basically, how it knows which device you want to transfer from is it shows a code on the old phone and you just scan it with your new one and it'll just start airdropping everything over. And I think it took around 2 hours, so it doesn't take that long. And also, this is my home screen, and I did a whole video on how I customized it and what's on my iPhone if you want to check that out. Okay, I mentioned that the screen is more yellow than my old phone, and people commented to turn off True Tone. And if you turn off True Tone, it will take away the yellow tint. But I was comparing this phone to my iPhone X, and both of them had True Tone on, so I think in general this one is just more yellow. I also feel like the iPhone 10 screen was just more contrasting, but it could just be because my screen has pink icons with a warm background, but it was also like that on my X, and I just feel like it was slightly more contrasting. Okay, for the camera quality, I really think it's amazing because I was upgrading from the X and it is pretty different from the X, but honestly I don't see much of a difference between the 11 Pro Max and the iPhone 12 Pro. So the camera might be a huge upgrade or not depending on what phone you had previously. And since this camera is better for me, I definitely noticed that my FaceTime camera is better, and my friends have told me that the quality is better. So maybe if you aren't even filming YouTube videos on your phone, if you use FaceTime a lot, the camera could be useful. But sizing wise, this phone definitely fits my hand better than the iPhone 11 Pro Max. But I feel like if you have really big hands or you just want a larger screen, the Pro Max could be better. But the Pro Max is even larger than the 11 Pro Max, and I already feel like the 11 Pro Max is a little bit too large for me to hold. But that definitely depends person to person. I also wanted to address some questions about the battery life. I can't really tell how long it lasts me because sometimes I have it plugged in and sometimes I don't, but I use it pretty regularly and it can last me a whole day for sure. And if I don't charge it at all, I probably have around 20% 1% left at the end of the day if I'm not using it constantly. Okay, so this was this year's box for the iPhone, so obviously it's really thin, so they took out the charging block, but they still gave the USB-C to the lightning port cable, and I don't have the USB block that plugs into the wall, so I don't use that charger, but that charger does charge your phone much faster. But charging this phone 100% still works with any of the old chargers, it's just a little slower. And the sizing in general of this phone is kind of like any of the normal sized Apple phones, like the 7, 8, or the 10. The screen is just larger. I think it's a little larger than the 7 and the 8, but the screen is definitely a lot bigger because it doesn't have the chunks on the top and the bottom for the home button. And since the main style design of the 12 is that they have the stainless steel edges, people were asking if it's weird to hold compared to the round edges. It really almost feels the exact same. It's mainly just how it looks. If you've ever had an iPhone 5 or 4 or have it around, it feels just like that, almost just larger, and it doesn't ever dig into your skin. So if you're deciding what phone to get, you're probably considering the storage, the color, and the style. So there's this one, and then the Pro Max, which is larger, and then the Pro Mini, which is smaller, and then just the normal iPhone 12, which is the exact same as this with just 2 cameras, and it has a little bit of a different color scheme. So storage wise, I know that my phone started at 128 gigabytes, which for any normal person is more than enough, but I film a lot of videos on here, so I kind of need a lot of storage for all of that, so I got the 256. Also, if you're deciding on the color, the gold is super pretty on the edges. It doesn't look too blingy, but it's definitely a yellow gold color and not like a rose gold. And the back is just super muted, so it's pretty neutral. I feel like it is actually pretty similar to the silver, but the silver is just white on the back, and I considered getting the silver just because the white would look the most neutral with any kind of phone case, especially at the camera part. And the black one is obviously just black. It's very simple. And then the blue I think is so pretty, but just keep in mind that the camera part is blue, so if you put on some like pink case, it might look kind of weird. Obviously, I think the gold is the best, but I'm kind of biased about it. I also got a couple questions about my old iPhone X, and people wanted me to give it away, but it's actually my mom's now. So if you're trying to decide if it's worth it, since it is pretty pricey, this one I have right here was $1,100 and then $1,200 with tax, and the model is the gold iPhone 12 Pro with 256 gigabytes of storage. So even though it's pricey, you just kind of have to decide if it's worth it for you, because for me this doubles as my camera, and it was a huge upgrade for me from the 10, but my 10 would have been totally fine for just everyday use, and this is definitely a luxury. And if you already have an 11, I'd say just stick with the 11 unless you really want the 12, because there aren't really that many changes in my opinion, and I think the battery life on the 11 is actually better, and it's just really more the style change. The Pro models do come with like Pro Raw and stuff like that that's coming out in the future, so in the end it just depends on what you're upgrading from and why you're upgrading it and if you really need it. Okay, so that's basically all I could think of when I was writing down some notes about this phone. So I respond to almost all my comments, so just comment anything down below if you have questions. And thank you for clicking on this video, and thank you for spending some time with me, and I hope you enjoyed the video.
Like me, look, I squared up with Cupid, told him find me. I stole your love, he shot my heart. I'm losing breath, it's getting dark. I think I might need CPR, baby, won't you tell me, do you love